Now, something you probably don't know about me is that I'm a very gullible person. If you tell me something, even if it's untrue, I'd probably believe it since I trust very easily. Due to that gullibility, I believe a lot of theories I hear on the internet. I even remember being really into game theory a few years ago and loving that Sans' Nest video MatPat made. And I know a lot of people gave that video crap, but I didn't really see anything wrong with it at the time. Anyways, today I'll be looking at an assortment of Undertale theories and rating them on a fun little tier list, with S tier being something I wholeheartedly believe and D being absolute hogwash. Now, I'm going to be pulling theories from all over the place, from stuff like subreddits to articles online, so I'll do my best to credit where I found them. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so without further ado, let's get started. This is actually a theory I kinda like. It's a short and sweet theory that claims the HP value in Undertale actually stands for hope. This one's pretty believable since terms like EXP, LV, and KR all have some kind of secret meaning to them, so why shouldn't HP have one as well? The theory also brings up how Sans, a character with no hope, has an incredibly low amount of HP, while a character like Undyne has a massive HP pool of 23,000 in her Undying form. Now there can be arguments against this theory, as 1, Sans' HP being just 1 is a fan theory, and 2, why would the human's hope increase by killing monsters? That just doesn't make any sense. Overall, it's a solid and interesting little theory that earns itself a B tier rank. Damn, going from such a simple and easy to understand theory to one that makes you see the game in an entirely new light gave me so much whiplash. Anyways, this theory talks about what if Frisk is actually a monster. Personally, I don't see it. The theory claims that because so many monsters aren't hostile towards them, alongside the fact that Frisk has an unnaturally large amount of determination, means that they're actually a monster. I don't want to be rude, but this theory is absolutely ridiculous if you simply look at the things that are established in universe. Claiming that Frisk's level of determination is too high on a human level is absolutely ridiculous, since if Frisk was a monster, that level of determination would turn them into a puddle of goo. Also, the reason why monsters aren't that hostile towards you is because the span of time between each human's fall is so long that only a few monsters are old enough to recognize one. Overall, this theory in my opinion is a load of crap and gets a D tier on my list. We just had a theory that Frisk is a monster, and now we got a theory that Sans is a human. Now, unlike the last one, this theory is actually kinda believable. Sans clearly knows a lot more than he lets on, and maybe an explanation for being able to recognize resets and why he actually bleeds is because he might be a human. A big piece of evidence that supports this theory is how he speaks about giving up going back years ago, and how he knows what the sun is. Now, although this theory is kinda believable, there's some things that will also bring it down. For one, when Sans dies, although he goes off screen, you can still hear the sound of him turning to dust, meaning he could very well just be a monster. Some could argue him going off screen means we never really see if he turns to dust, but it's pretty obvious that he does, and the only reason he goes off screen is to not give the player the satisfaction of seeing him die. Think about it, it's a very Sans thing to do. As for giving up and trying to go back and how he knows what the sun is, there are several monsters who know what it looks like, since a handful of them were around before Monsterkind was cast into the underground, meaning he could have very well seen it before. There's also the implication that Sans was a scientist, with the machines in his garage and the mysterious teleportation ability. That means he might know about the sun from research, and that when he gave up on trying to go back, it could imply that he was once a monster living on the surface who kept trying to come up with scientific ways to destroy the barrier to no avail. Overall, a much more solid theory than the previous one, but not one I'd believe, giving this one a solid C tier. This is certainly one of, if not the most iconic theory in the Undertale fandom. The theory that Gaster is related to Sans and Papyrus has worked its way into so many AUs, comics, and is considered canon by so many people. Which makes me worried when I say that I don't really think this theory is all that. Fun fact about this one, this was the first theory I ever heard about Undertale. It was my first ever playthrough and my cousin told me that the abandoned quiche found in the waterfall was Sans's, and that he made it when he was a royal scientist. Now, I know that was all just theoretical, but back then it kinda blew my mind. There are a couple of hints that suggest this though. For one, there are plenty of massive hints throughout the game that Sans has a scientific background. There's quantum physics books in Sans and Papyrus's house, the fact he understands time travel, and his capability of teleporting. And probably most importantly of all, the fact that there's a giant machine in the back of their house. A big thing that I completely forgot about is the fact that Sans and Alphys have a history together, which could potentially be a scientific one. Were they maybe colleagues once? While Sans being a scientist is definitely confirmed, him being a royal scientist has a lot less hints. But hey, he's a scientist and it's implied that he's been around for a long time, so maybe there was a time he was the royal scientist. Overall, I'll give this theory a solid A tier. Now, personally, I think that this theory is really cool. The aspects of each human soul being reincarnated into a specific monster is kinda believable given each monster's personality. Papyrus would be kindness due to his nature and how he acts throughout the game. Mettaton would be bravery due to him standing up against a human who murdered so many of his people. Undyne would be perseverance due to how she pushed through her death hard enough to continue fighting you. Sans would be integrity, as his whole job is to judge you on your morals and actions. The Mad Dummy is said to be justice because they desperately want to get payback for their dummy cousin, and patience is honestly a toss-up. Maybe it'd be Asgore considering how long he's waited for freedom. No matter what it is though, this theory, although cool, doesn't make that much sense. I don't really know how the reincarnation thing would work considering that some of the characters that line up with the human souls don't even have a soul themselves, and some of these guys have been around to fight different humans for so long that them being reincarnated as them wouldn't work. Personally, I think the only reason the monsters are given these specific traits is to make them seem more alive and interesting, making it all the more terrible when you slaughter them. Yeah, if you didn't know this already, Undertale really wants you to feel bad when you kill people. Overall, this is a neat theory, but hardly believable. C tier. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the last theory of the video. This one might be the most complex of all. Yup. Honestly, I'm not going to say too much on this theory because I actually really like MatPat, but it was such a ridiculous theory and one that caused one of the biggest impacts on the Undertale fandom ever. I actually thought it was real when I first watched it. Although it's widely considered to be lunacy, my love for game theory will land this theory not on this list because I don't want to rank it. Well, that was a nice video to make. Theories are always fun for me because so many of them make so much sense when I first hear them, but they slowly start unraveling in my head the more I think about them. I'm definitely going to be making a part 2 to this video, so leave any theories you want me to rank in the comments. It could be ones you find or even ones you made. Anyways, thank you all for watching and I will see you all in the next video.